Hi everybody, thanks for coming to watch this video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to enhance and make your own freckles. So we're going to be going from this to this. So if you want to figure out how I did this, just keep watching. So I want to start off by saying that a few of these tips are from Jeff Rojas. I've watched a few of his videos on YouTube and he's great, so if you want, go check out his freckles. I think it's how to enhance freckles in color, and then he has a black and white one. So a few of those tips I kind of got from him and then altered a little bit to not make it more my style, but just in a different way, I guess. So definitely go check him out. I will be linking all of his stuff down below. He has some other great videos, so thought I would start off with that. So yeah, I'm just bringing in the raw image. So this is straight out of camera. So I'm bringing it into Photoshop. You can also bring it into Lightroom. I usually do Lightroom just because I import all my photos there. But for the sake of the video, I'm just bringing it into Camera Raw on Photoshop. So what I like to start off with is just kind of playing around with my basics. I usually shoot pretty well for my white balance, like in camera, so I don't play with that too much. I bring the highlights down, my shadows up, whites up, and blacks down. Again, this is just what I do for all my images. That's how I like to edit them in Photoshop usually. I also like to bring up my clarity, usually about to a 9 or 10, kind of. Also, everything just depends on the photo. I like to skip tone curve. I don't really do too much in that. Detail, I like to bring up the sharpening, and a little bit of a tip is to play with the masking. So you're going to want to press Alt or Option. I think that's the same on PC. I have a Mac, so don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the same. So you want to click that and drag, and whatever is white is going to be what's getting sharpened. So probably about to that. I'm really just kind of looking at the eyes to make sure that all of that is mostly selected, and then I will bring the sharpening up. If you do it too much, sometimes it looks kind of weird, and I used to do that, so I like to keep it just a little bit there. You can always zoom up and double check. I like to bring the luminance up a little bit too. And then the main thing for bringing out the freckles is playing with the luminance over here. So this is in the HSL grayscale. You can also convert it. I like to just keep it in color because I'm going to be having the image in color. And I just bring the oranges down. So she doesn't have too many freckles, so it's always going to be different for every person. Because as you can see, she doesn't have too many freckles, and the ones that she does, they are pretty light. But with somebody with a lot of freckles, this will do quite a bit. So I just bring it down a little bit because it does bring out some other colors in her face that I don't really want, but I can, lighten those up and take those out in actual Photoshop. So I just kind of play with the oranges there, and then that's kind of it. I usually like to remove the chromatic aberration, and sometimes I'll do the corrections, but I usually like to keep them. Doesn't, I don't know, I find it looks a little bit better. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, the main thing in Camera Raw is bringing down the oranges, and then yeah, you're just going to want to open the image. Okay, so now that I have it brought into Photoshop, usually what I like to start off with is evening out the skin. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. I'm going to speed it up so that you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. I will be doing a video on how I retouch my skin. I'm still kind of figuring out exactly how I want to do it. But yeah, so here's a little bit of a sped up skin editing. Alright, so now that that's done, this is the before and after. Bailey has such nice skin. So it really doesn't take a whole lot to do. But yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I tried to avoid where her actual freckles are. Yeah, so now that that's done, we are going to go down here. I don't exactly know what this is called, but you're going to want to click on that and go to black and white. And then where it says default, I usually just click blue filter, and then I kind of play around with these settings. You can kind of leave them as it is. I usually like to bring the reds down a little bit more, yellows up, and then after that you're going to want to click on that, and instead of having it normal, you're going to want to go to luminosity. So then that just brings it back to color. You can double click on this and play around with what the actual settings are doing, and you can see what they're doing. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to leave it as. And I like to do this first. You can also do the other step that I'll be doing before this, but I just think that this works the best. So you're going to want to zoom in and keep it on the white layer. So instead of inverting it, which is Command I like to just leave it as it is. And you're going to want to have a soft brush selected and have about a 50% opacity. You can do 30, you can do 100%. Kind of just depends on what you're feeling. And you're going to want to paint with a black brush. And you're going to want to paint over the freckles. So I know that sounds like you should be doing the opposite and painting, you know, away the non-freckles, but after we're done painting them, we're going to invert it, and it's going to enhance the freckles that way. So again, you can do it this way and just paint with a white brush over the black layer, but it's just easier to paint away what you can already see. Well, that's in my opinion at least. Yeah, so whatever your preference is. So I'm just going to speed this up, and I'll show you guys what it is like after. Also, a little side note, if the person doesn't have too many freckles and you want to kind of add some more, you can always just paint wherever there isn't a freckle. So right here, there isn't a freckle, but I'm just going to paint over that. And as you can see, it just adds a little bit of a freckle there. So yeah, back to it. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to invert it, Command I, and this is the before and after. It's a little bit too harsh, so I'm going to bring the opacity down just a little bit. You don't want to take it down too much, because then all of your work is for nothing. And I know this kind of seems tedious, but this is the way that I find it works best. So then after that's done, you're going to want to go back down to the black and white, pretty much doing the exact same thing. Normal luminosity. And this time you're going to actually keep it. So you're going to want to keep it as natural looking as possible, so the way that you kind of like it the most. So that seems pretty good to me there. And again, instead of this time, we are going to actually take it off, and we are going to paint with a white brush. And this time I'm probably going to keep it on 100, and I'm just going to paint over her skin. You can also take away, I guess. So now that that's good, we're going to convert our brush to black. And I don't want her lips to be so dark, so I'm actually just going to paint at a 30 and take some of that off. I'm also going to do her eyes. And then I'm just going to kind of look where it's a little bit too dark. So for me, That's kind of on her forehead and a little bit down on her jaw. So I'm going to take about a 20% opacity and just paint black over top of where it's a little bit too much. And that's the before and after. So the full before and after for this is, there we go. So you can kind of keep doing this technique until you're happy with it. Make sure you're doing freckles all over the face, because there aren't just freckles on the cheeks and nose. There are some on the forehead and chin. So you can kind of just keep doing the exact same technique until you're happy with it. So I think I'm going to do it one more time. Luminosity. And I'm just going to paint over the freckles again. This time I think I'm going to do it at like a 20% because I just kind of want to enhance a few darker ones this time. So yeah, just 20 and just keep going. So again, I'll speed this up. Alright, so that seems good to me. I will bring the opacity down a little bit more. And that's how I enhance freckles. Again, it will be different for every person. Some people have more freckles, other people have less. So this is just a way to help bring them out. You can also do this in black and white, pretty much the same way. Just keep it in black and white and you don't need to put it in luminosity. So I'm going to finish the image and I will show you the end product. Alright, so now I am done. I did a little bit of highlighting and contouring, and then I brought in her dress a little bit just because I didn't exactly like the way it looked because her arm was up, so it was pulling at it a little bit. So just kind of brought that in, and then I made her hair a little bit bigger, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. I also did the freckle thing one more time, and so here's the before and after. So yeah, hopefully this was a little bit helpful. If there's anything else that you guys would want to see, just let me know. Also sorry that the audio was kind of not the best for this and that I just kind of rambled on a little bit. I'm not the best at this yet. So yeah, I'm going to link all of my other stuff below, my Instagram and my website. I will also be linking Bailey's stuff below, and then again Jeff Rojas below. So thank you guys for watching, and again leave me some comments. If there's anything you guys want to see, just let me know. Have a good one.